Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Spencer Bakuli, Drew Taylor, and Donald Edmonds. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty well.
Oh man, I'm good. I am really good.
We definitely have a lot to talk about. This was the season finale of The Mandalorian, Chapter 16, I believe, called The Rescue. So we're just going to kind of do this how we usually do it. We're going to go around and get first initial reactions, and then we're going to kind of break down the episode kind of chronologically. We might get a little bit sidetracked talking about maybe doing a little bit jumping, but we do try our best to stay chronological when we're talking about the episode. Mm-hmm. So there will be spoilers for those who are watching not live afterwards, because we do get a lot of people that watch this afterwards. But yeah, so let's just kind of get into it. I do want to also welcome folks to the chat. We got Deviant Porg and Lofter Demon King of Inferno here. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate that. And I am sorry about your dog, Lofter. I just went through that in September, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
It's so heartbreaking, but at least she was loved. So yeah, you can take solace in that.
All right, so let's do initial reactions. Let's just start off with you, Spencer. What was your initial reaction to the show?
All right. Before I give my initial reaction to this episode, I'm just going to give a quick reaction to last week. It was okay. I laughed because I know exactly why you guys were saying last week or on Bounding Live, that I would be a huge fan of it. And yeah, I loved those Starfighter scenes a lot. But the rest of it was kind of just a side questy thing. But this episode, I think I liked it. I think I liked it a lot, except for some things near the end that we'll get into. But I think I liked it a lot.
Okay. All right, Drew.
All right, my initial reaction, man. I was up late last night. Don was up late last night. I actually, it's funny. I didn't wind up doing Pegasus because, last minute, pretty much most of the panel was not feeling well or had things to do. So we decided to just go ahead and come back after Christmas and do it. But I had time, so I specifically took a nap so I could to watch Mando, because it was, the suspense was killing me. I wanted to see it. And man, my first reaction after I watched, I was like, yes, let's go. I shed a tear. Not gonna lie.
Is your name Kevin Smith? What's going on here?
No, I did. It got me in the feels, and I know a lot of people are gonna say the whole member berries thing, but for that
powerful drugs,
for that moment, man, it got me in the feels. And
I don't even know if that was member berries. That was just uniquely its own moment of sadness. We'll discuss them, but there were a couple of times, man, I just it's just a wave of different emotions, lost my composure. But man, it was, I enjoyed the episode. Is it a magnum opus? No, it wasn't. But it was a very, very, it was Star Wars done right, at least for that. And I am absolutely 100% hats off to the director, and hats off to Favreau. Ant-Man.
Yeah, Peyton Reed, Ant-Man director.
Yeah.
All right. Which one did he do earlier this season? He did the second one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Stinkiest one.
Yeah. The stinkiest one.
Was that that was the spider one, right?
That's the spider one, yeah.
He redeemed himself in spades for in this one. I'll say that. So, all right.
You can only do so much with the script that you're given. So, Don, let's hear your reaction here.
But yeah, it just goes to show you, you're given good material. Doesn't matter. You could be the best director in the world. You will make use of a good material. So he was given episode 2, and then he was given this episode. He did above and beyond for this episode. My initial reaction was I was floored. Because the member berries is a very strong drug. And I welled up a little bit. So you can call me Kevin Smith for all you care. But then it was that morning after effect of, wait a minute. What is that all leading to in its logical conclusion? Mm-hmm. And then, you get that morning after you're going to sleep with a 10 and then you wake up to a 2,
Yeah, hail to Elam. Hail Parrot Head.
Hail to Elam and Parrot Head. But yeah, it's just like I am torn. Overall, I am torn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also want to point out, and as we go along chronologically, I'll kind of point out some of the there were some cool other sci-fi nods in this episode.
I was gonna
some really neat Easter eggs.
A lot of Battlestar.
And we'll discuss it, but let's I'll point them out as we go. So.
Drew was slapping the whole episode.
Dude, there's a specific moment I fell in love with Katie.
Dude, listen,
and we'll get to it.
When you've got Ming-Na, Kara, and
Gina,
and you got Ming-Na, Gina, and
dude, that.
In one fire team, I'm like, yes, I'm fine with girl power on that one because it's like, yeah,
that's a good A-Force.
Yeah, I mean, none of them were being put forward because they were women. They all had a reason to hang out.
They were believably able to kick my ass.
Hold on, we'll get to that. I do want to chime in here and give my initial reaction. I thought it was pretty good. I thought for the most part, this was probably the best episode of the season. There were still some things that could have been improved, some writing that should have been cleaned up. But for the most part, it was pretty well done. I felt this episode did have probably the most wokeness that we've seen.
Really?
Really?
With one character noticeably being absent, so you could have that girl power moment.
Just the guy, I mean, that was weird that he was gone, but I didn't take that as girl power.
And then, there's a reason why he's not there though. And then I had an issue with the Boba Fett fight scene, where he was getting kind of manhandled. I thought that was I had a little problem with that too, as far as the wokeness aspects of it. But for the most,
I know what you're talking about.
Who did he fight to get manhandled again?
He fights Sasha Banks and gets.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I have a problem with that specific scene. Yeah.
Well, I consider Sasha Banks' character like a throwaway token. So.
Yeah, but she could also kick my ass. So
well, they're trying to make it so that she isn't. That's why she beats up Boba Fett. But yeah, so I did enjoy it for the most part. But I do think again there's still some issues. I do think that one of the biggest issues that this episode had was still there are no threats. The villains are not threats, and when we do get villains that are threats, seemingly threats at least, they are easily the plot armor destroys them. The plot destroys them. The member bears destroy them.
Yeah.
I was. So you had that. But yeah, let's just kind of get into it. So the show begins with Mando and company going to some planet. Looked like an Imperial planet. I saw it. I feel I saw an Imperial symbol on the factories there, or those like pipe stacks. No one was. They had no issue landing. They went into the bar, just recruited Bo-Katan, and you get that fight with
Oh, I mean,
between-
hold on. We skipped that entire first scene too with the stormtrooper pilot or Imperial pilot.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry,
That was
yeah.
a great. That was
So,
a
yeah.
great scene.
Yeah.
I loved
So
it.
the begins. Yeah, thank you.
That
Sorry.
was-
Yeah, my fault there. It started with a firefight in space, which is actually really, really good. I really like that.
That's actually Star Wars. That's
The only thing I have an issue with is it's an Imperial transport with no escort.
They do that sometimes.
They do that every once in a while when they
mostly when it's a stealth mission.
When it's just like a milk run like that, and I'm thinking that was like a standard milk run for them, was just like ferrying a guy from back to the ship. I
don't know. They call him a high priority target for the New Republic. He is a clone engineer.
Yeah,
he is the one who has been experimenting with Baby Yoda. He's needed for whatever experiments
and didn't the Empire know that the facility he was working in just got like raided? So
they should know. Yeah, they should know that the mining facility. I don't know if he was working at the mining facility. Oh yeah, on Navarro. On
Navarro.
So yeah, I agree. So I have that. I do have. Yeah, I mean, I like the firefight, but I was just like, where are the escorts here for this high priority guy who's like seemingly key to everything that they've been doing with Baby Yoda, like even from the first episode.
We do appear mid-fight. Maybe Boba already toasted him.
See, John, if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have known that high priority people get escorts.
Yeah.
Oh, the Emperor. They show that the Emperor's.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's usually escorted by a Star Destroyer.
Grand Moffs get it. Vader gets it.
Yeah.
Pretty much every high-ranking Imperial has had an escort.
I mean, it's just a scientist, give or take.
Casual.
But it's not. He's not just a scientist. He's a clone engineer. Those don't exist that much anymore.
No,
like there are not that many of them left. He's like that dude.
They say he's a high priority target for the New Republic. Like the guy. Like the dude literally executes the other guy, which I like that. I thought that was great.
I love that.
Blew him away. Awesome. I like that. He was like, this guy is like weak sauce. Boom, get it out. Like that was like That was like the Empire. That's like what Vader would do. You are weak, you die. Like only the strong survive. So I like that. And then
I thought that one pilot, the one who gets shot, he looked like PewDiePie to me. Deviant Porg is also asking a good question too. I found this was interesting too. How did they find the scientists? I thought they only had coordinates for Moff. Yes, correct. So I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, they were just getting sector coordinates." So they were just finding the sector that he was in. So then maybe they intercepted it in the sector. But yeah, I agree.
Boba Fett can find anyone in the galaxy. All right, plain and simple.
Yeah, but you have to at least give us. You have to. I mean, I agree with you. It does take you out of that suspension of disbelief. I like the fight. I thought it was a great scene. But when you think about it,
more than the Batman explanation, which is like, how did Batman find Riddler? He's a detective. He knows how. Like,
even when Batman.
But
even when Batman, usually when he finds someone, he's following the clues and solving the riddles to figure out where he is. Right. They usually have that. We didn't get the breadcrumbs. We didn't get the breadcrumb trail. That's all. And
it could have just been like a throwaway line, like a
tracking fob.
Yeah, a tracking fob. or
it could have been like they could have been like we found that you were on this planet. They would be like, how did you find us? Or something. Like when he recognizes Mando, which the Doctor should recognize him because he was in the room when he was hired by Werner Herzog's character, and he's like, how did you find us? And then he knows that he was the one who rescued Baby Yoda from the facility on Navarro in the first place. He should have been like, how did you find us? And like Mando maybe says like, or maybe not. Mando doesn't tell him because you wouldn't want your hero telling them how they did it. But maybe like they say like in the beginning like he says like we've already like we found this information about this Doctor too. It'll be easier to find the starship or something like that. Like
I have a counter argument to that, but we'll talk about it later on in the episode breakdown. I might have a counter argument to that, but
so you're still like thinking about it, or
no, because we're going through the episode, so I want to use that example later on in the episode to justify
So we'll come back to
explanation.
We did get an ion cannon, which is I think we talked about that in one of our previous reviews about being able to stun the ships, and that's what I couldn't remember what it's called, but it's an ion cannon.
Yeah.
So I like seeing that. Obviously, Boba's got the arsenal there on Slave One. So I like seeing that. I thought that was a good chase. I thought the dialogue between Cara Dune and the other Imperial pilot.
Yeah.
They were totally going for the feels there, and you felt that.
Feels? I don't know if feels. I thought it was just to show how much of a jackass that guy was.
He was also baiting her.
Oh no, they were totally.
He was baiting her, and he like genuinely believed that side of the argument. Like,
that's some interesting propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Like they believe that entire planet was filled with terrorists against the Empire.
Yeah.
I guess. I didn't get the fact that he was saying that. I thought he was just saying that I didn't realize. Was he really saying that he believed the entire planet was terrorists?
That was.
I thought he was just saying that. Like,
that was heavily implied in the dialogue.
Okay, I just took it as like I would do it again because I need to destroy these terrorists, and these are the measures we'll go to destroy them, or something like that.
But
that's what I read it as. Like, we got rid of terrorists, I would do it all over again.
But the guy was totally baiting her, wondering if she had the wherewithal, if she was just going to back down and let him live anyway, like they normally do. Or actually had
Right, but that's why I said it was going for the feels there, because they wanted you to feel emotionally attached to Cara Dune, because this guy was being such a jerk to her. And I thought Gina Carano did an excellent job in that scene, because you really did feel for her. You felt that like anger welling up, but you also like saw the control that she had on it, and then she just like blew the guy away.
The guy. I also did like. There's a little detail where when the Imperial pilot brings it up, like I'll admit, like he started talking about it, and I went, how did he know that she was even there?
Yeah,
and then he saw the tear. I'm like, hey, there you go. That's some good little mini continuity.
Yeah, because that actually is a callback. They actually kept the continuity there good, because then he got the tear, and then he knew that she was a dropper, because as soon as she walked in, he called her dropper. But you know that because she has her like dropper tattoo or whatever that like shows that she's a dropper.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually pretty good job.
Oh, I was just going to say, John, you were right, by the way, since I'm sure we're moving off of that little ship scene. But the planet did have, all those factories have Imperial markings on them.
Yeah, and I took it as,
Abandoned.
they were there gathering intel. And because, at the time, because if you remember, you go back to the Bo-Katan episode when they stole that initial Imperial ship, the first one they stole, it makes sense they'd be going to different Imperial worlds, gathering intel and things like that. And they can fly in pretty well under the radar because they're obviously in an Imperial transport.
There was a TIE fighter that Slave One landed next to as well.
Yeah.
So to me, that implied that there was still an Imperial. Like there was an Imperial presence there.
It's not a TIE fighter. It's like
it looks like a Kylo Ren TIE fighter.
But it looks
like the old silver ship that like Darth Maul used to fly.
But it was more like
pull it up.
I have it right here.
That was more to me like one of those Imperial like colony planets, whatever, and they just. And they just went and popped in there, and they had been gathering intel, which is easy to assume that they were gathering intel because this is a huge operation that Bo-Katan's putting together to eventually go and retake Mandalore.
So, I was gonna say that now that I'm looking at it, I think that's Bo-Katan's ship.
That was the Mandalorian
ship from Clone Wars. Yeah, So yeah.
And, I think
all bars look the same when you're drunk.
It's a quick. It was a really quick scene. I just thought it was like Kylo's TIE fighter because of the way the wings were positioned and everything like that.
No, look. Now that I searched her ship, the Gauntlet, it definitely looks like her ship.
But I still believe she was there gathering intel, because this is all stuff that they're going to use come time when they start the operation to retake Mandalore. And
for sure.
So it was perfectly feasible that she was on an Imperial world at the time.
Right. I think my issue here is that if it is an Imperial world, they are just able to land without any problems. No one's like actually like checking them out, seeing who these people are, figuring that out. I think that was the issue that I had.
Drew, you called it.
Deviant Porg asks if the ship is the one behind Slave One. It's the one to the right of Slave One.
Mm-hmm.
Deviant Porg, the one with the wings standing up.
Yeah, the one that the big.
Yeah.
So we get to this scene here, and then we get to go into this little bar here, and they try and recruit Bo-Katan and Sasha Lane's Sasha Banks' character. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to take it off.
Yeah. So we get that. I mean, we're gonna get we're not. I don't monetize these anyways because they demonetize these.
No, it was only a couple seconds. That's fine.
That's all it takes.
It's no. Hey, listen. It's no different than the reaction channels. How come the reaction channels can have their footage up?
I don't know. Let's ask Susie Liu.
But so we get to the scene in the bar here, and Bo-Katan calls out Boba Fett, saying he's not a Mandalorian, and he's just like, no one said I did, but he literally said he was a Mandalorian literally like 2 episodes ago when he's like, my father was a foundling, that makes me a Mandalorian.
If you go back just a little bit, like when they initially walk in, I kind of like the fact that when they approach the table, she Mando says something to the effect of I need your help, and she kind of blows him off, and then it's like Boba Fett says something to the effect like, we don't need these two,
right.
we got this, and it's funny because Katie had that traditional kind of she injected a bit of Cara Thrace into the character with the trademark smartassery, and she had some savage cuts, and she was like, some of us aren't bounty hunters.
Yeah, she says not all Mandalorians are bounty hunters.
It's just like, man. I mean, she was just she's just flat out savage. And then when she came out and just like absolutely crushed him by like just saying, you're a clone. I've heard thousands of your voices.
Orange Chat, you're wrong here. He pulls up his family tree once he gets the armor, shows that his dad is a foundling. So that means the assumption is that he is a Mandalorian as well. Mm-hmm. That's a specific scene from like 2 episodes ago when the Baby Yoda's taken. So he like literally pulls up his family tree. He says like, "Look, here's my dad. He was a foundling," and then it implies that he's a Mandalorian.
So yeah, I mean, there was some savage dialogue there, and I kind of like the fact that there was that tension because.
You would think she might know who Boba Fett is too.
Oh, she absolutely.
Maybe. She recognizes that he's a clone for sure by his voice, which I thought was a nice little throwback member berry. That was actually a good member berry.
Yeah, she absolutely knew who he was. Because she immediately, because one of the first things that she dropped that cut on him about, some of us aren't bounty hunters, and I thought
that was more for Din.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. But
that was.
But the but the thing is I think she knew exactly who he was because there was.
I'm not sure she did. She knew he was a clone. That's about it. It would have been better if she had maybe recognized the armor, but obviously the armor has a different paint job, so she might not have.
Oh yeah, wait. What did you guys say last week? What was your theory for how he got his armor painted again?
That Sabine painted it.
Yeah, that was my theory. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, Bo-Katan thought Boba was just another clone. He didn't. Yeah, I agree with Orange Hat there. I still think you're wrong on the family stuff, but I'll have to go back and look at that. But if I'm wrong, I will admit. I will definitely take that back. But I'm pretty sure Boba says that his dad was a foundling, which would make him a Mandalorian.
But either way, the tension was good. I enjoyed the fact that they had tension instead of just like there's 4 people in Mando armor here. Let's go.
Dude, the shot of Katie Sackhoff when she's like taunting Boba Fett and she has that smile on her face.
Dude, that's
my heart. I fall in love.
I was just like, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Katie, Bo, please do anything you want.
But then it devolves into Sasha Banks' character like attacking Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird.
Well, no,
I think it is like a way Mandalorians just duke things out, get through their misunderstandings.
Yeah,
remember last season?
I've always kind of put like
so Mandalorians are Saiyans.
when Favreau was trying to pick a fight with Din.
I've always.
But then he's like stopped.
I've always
going to show the vibro knives.
I've always kind of equated it, sort of a warrior culture similar to Klingons.
Except they were pacifists.
And the thing is though, there's still certain things, man. You say it and cross the line. Well, you crossed the line, and obviously, Sasha Banks' character had enough of Boba, coming back with the verbal jabs at Bo-Katan, so she's like, F that, and she was already tense as it was up in his face, so yeah, they scrapped, and I like the fact that Boba put her on the ground first, and then she did the stupid jetpack suplex because WWE, and then the whole stalemate with the flamethrowers I thought was pretty cool.
I like that.
Hadouken, 2 Hadouken.
Yeah, it was
exactly.
Okay.
It was like Dragon Ball.
I felt the way Boba gets her first, but it seemed like she was getting the upper hand. I don't know. I felt like she was winning. The way it was,
if I'm like 65 and I'm fighting Ronda Rousey,
yeah.
Yeah, but he's not 65
I'll take a few.
though.
He's much older than the rest of them.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. He's probably
No. Is he? He's probably younger.
He's probably
not.
He's probably around.
He's younger.
He's probably around that 58.
Boba Fett was born during the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Bo-Katan was already an adult during the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Oh no, not Bo-Katan. What's her name? Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah, but you can't compare the actors though. That's not what we're talking about.
No,
talking about the characters.
The character is Keanu Reeves, whatever that character is.
Casca Reeves is a much
younger.
She's got to be younger than Boba.
Yes, her, yes. Maybe.
Yeah.
She might be like the same age.
I could understand her getting a little bit of a physical edge for the, because it was the maneuver she did. Obviously it was jetpack assisted, and it was also, ingenuity. But really, truly, we just know it was a WWE move. It's like a dragon suplex, but
plus spry youth and training.
Boba Fett was 13. That kid looked like he was like 10.
No,
he was 13 and 10.
Yeah.
He was 13? Okay.
So
I'll believe it.
Yeah, it didn't like really
didn't break anything
for me. Although, like I said, I'm just not a fan of Sasha Banks' character. I don't like Sasha.
I don't like her either.
I don't like Sasha Banks in WWE, and I don't like her character either. So
the whole part of that was to make her was trying to like build her character up. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it was
at the expense of Boba Fett. That's what it was.
It was, and you know, and while the little fight was cool, yeah, I saw what they were trying to do, and no, Sasha Banks, you're not gonna get on the level of Gina Carano, Katie Sackhoff, or Ming-Na Wen. Sorry.
I mean, that's why I thought that scene was a little woke, though. Is specifically taking down Boba Fett in order to build up to make her character seem.
And I get that argument, but to me, it's a believable moment where you have this older Mandalorian fighting a younger Mandalorian, and she doesn't wipe the floor with him. She gets a surprise attack on him, and then he throws her first. She gets a surprise attack, and then they're standing off before anything else can really happen.
I thought that was innocuous.
That to me. Oh, if not for the fact that was Sasha Banks' character, I don't even think woke would be in the conversation here.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, that's what woke is, though. It's like taking down a male character to build up a female
but that's not what's happening.
For the sake of the female character.
But he's not getting taken down.
Yeah, it was a draw. I don't think it was like really like too woke. I was just like
she didn't wipe the floor with him. That's
exactly.
It's not a Mary Sue moment.
Yeah, I just think Sasha.
It doesn't need to be a Mary Sue moment. I wasn't saying it was.
But
that's what we expect out of Star Wars now, right?
We have Boba Fett focusing on Bo, and then he gets snuck attack, and they have a little standoff. We even see that she has to rely on her tech to even stand close to fighting it. She can only do the jetpack move or the suplex with her jetpack. So each one of them is playing to their strengths, but we can see that it's not I just don't see that moment as woke.
No, Sasha Banks.
Annoying because it's her, but not woke.
Sasha Banks, you still suck, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know it finished in a draw. It just seemed like an unnecessary. It also seemed unnecessary to me. It was just a weird fight scene. The way she just kind of attacked him, and that's why I thought that. I mean, I'm not changing my mind on this. I understand you guys' argument. Yeah. I get that, but it just was a random sneak attack against Boba Fett by Sasha Banks' characters. That it was just hinted at wokeness to me. And I think I've explained why. I believe.
Boba Fett threatens her leader, so that's why I assume she left.
Yeah, watch your mouth, princess, before you lose it or something.
I know. I love how Boba Fett was jabbed back with
not woke.
Princess knock.
That's anti-woke because
when they accuse him of being a clone, she goes, "You're a clone. I've heard your voice 1,000 times before." And then he says, "Mine might be the last one you hear," and gets in her face, and that's when Sasha strikes out.
Yeah,
but all right, let's.
All right, so after this, they eventually recruit them. We actually get a plan breakdown again, which is good. This was a criticism that we had throughout the first season, that they wouldn't actually do any kind of scouting or breaking down the plan. So we get a breakdown of the plan. It's very similar to the last episode where they have a layout of the ship, where everything is, how they're going to go sneak in. It kind of all went by really fast, but at least that was there.
Thank God it went by fast.
It was kind of it was very techno jargony, the way they were explaining it, but you did get it. And then we get the actual plan in action.
Bit of an Easter egg here.
Oh, hey, YouTube's here. Hey, buddy.
During the planning sequence, very, very much a nice little callback, maybe intentional, maybe unintentional, to Battlestar. When they when
Starbuck the TIE fighters.
That's later.
Oh.
But this was when Starbuck was planning on going back and getting the survivors from Caprica, and it was rather cool because it really felt almost like Katie was like totally in her own way, like emoting that scene again, and that was pretty awesome for me. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I liked Din's assistance that he was going in alone, on the one side, and so she immediately said, okay, then me, Dune, and Kosker are going to go do our thing.
And Fennec, yeah.
Yeah, and Fennec.
Yeah, so I like the breakdown, and then we actually get the plane in action. So I have an issue here, and this comes from what we find out later with Gideon, who basically says, "I know everything," and he gives this whole speech to the Mando, to Din Djarin, saying how he knows everything. Well, if he knows everything, he should have known.
He said, "Assume I know everything,"
and then he lists out everything that he knows, which was
a lot, but it wasn't everything. But it was
quite a bit. It was quite a bit.
It was stuff like knowing that the Mando was coming for him, that Bo-Katan was after the Darksaber. Like, I don't know. That made sense to me.
So I just I don't know. He looked. I don't know. It rubbed me a little bit of the wrong way there. I would have figured out like he knew that Mando had threatened him before. He knew he was coming. You have a Imperial shuttle that is being attacked. You aren't kind of figuring out who was in this Imperial shuttle, who the actual pilots were. You think you would know that, especially if they just dropped out of hyperspace.
Well, wouldn't that make sense that you wouldn't know that if a random ship drops out of hyperspace and you don't have time to run their codes or any of that? All they've done is open the channels going, hey, let us in.
Yeah, but they were able to deploy their TIE fighters, but he didn't even tell anyone to even look at any of that stuff. So that's kind of where I have an issue with that.
Yeah, but that's because it was an emergency situation.
But there's also the thing too, and I want to put this in more of a big picture sense. We have to remember this is technically, the transitional Imperial remnant. This is not the full Empire at full staffing levels. They're in many ways short-staffed.
Pre-COVID levels.
No, that is not what we have been shown. Even the last episode talks about how the Empire is already rising up again, and the New Republic is in chaos from an Imperial officer.
Yeah, maybe from their point of view.
From a certain point of view.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So I can take or leave that, knowing that post.
It's a nitpick. I'm being very critical here. I'll be honest. It is a nitpick. It didn't take me out. I'm not trying to say oh, this was I thought the first half of the show for the most part was really, really well done. But I'm just trying to be being very critical. Which is what I think that's what we should be doing.
No,
it's stuff that should have been improved.
That good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think that was that big a deal, but I was fine with it. I thought it was a good plan.
To me, it made total sense. So
have the
as soon as they started going into the shuttle bay, they should have shot him down.
Yeah.
After they disobeyed orders.
Have the.
How can you tag them when they're that close?
When you literally have a guy who executes another guy in the scene, right before, you've seen people commit suicide in order to protect your whereabouts.
So you're saying just run a TIE fighter into them?
No, they should have shot the
but they were already too close. How are the guns going to hit them when the guns are forward facing and they're already coming into that zone?
They were.
It's just like with battleships.
What?
Once you reach a certain point with battleships, they cannot hit you because of where you are, and that's where they were when they were in that zone flying.
No, dude. No.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, dude. Battleships have big guns, but they also have small guns that they can fire too, dude.
I know, but there's a certain point.
You're totally wrong here.
I will draw a diagram.
Listen. All right.
I have a battleship game.
All right. So I'm going to go back. to Battlestar for a minute for a good example, and this will support the point. there's a flak barrier, right?
There's a point.
So when the flak barrier is up, there's only a certain operating space that ships have around the flak barrier. So, they really have to maneuver at that point. If they
but they're deploying TIE fighters that can shoot him down too. All I'm saying is they should have ordered him to be shot down.
If they get past the defenses, though, they get past the flak barrier, they're past the flak barrier.
That's what I'm saying. Is like at a certain point, you can't shoot at where they are in the range. Your guns cannot turn at that angle to shoot into them. And once you're past
they were literally going into the hangar bay.
And look at where it was at that point. Like, it's so close to the hangar bay. There are no guns unless there were guns in the hangar. Like,
I think you're missing the point that I'm telling them to order them to shoot down, which there was like TIE fighters that could have shot them down. They deployed a TIE fighter. They literally deployed a TIE fighter.
You literally saw the TIE fighters go after Boba Fett. It's literally while they're coming in, Boba Fett's right behind him, curves, and the TIE fighters go after him.
Right. I think you're still not hearing what I'm saying. The order should have been to shoot them down.
But it shouldn't have, because they didn't know what was happening. When you have a ship blasting out of nowhere, it's an Imperial ship for all intents and purposes, and it's all that's being said is we are under attack, we need to get inside, we need help. I mean, they did the right thing by not just letting them in, but sending out a fleet of TIEs to help them. It's just that's not what would, in a normal situation, those TIEs would have shot down Slave One. They would have interrogated that ship, and then they would have run the codes and stuff. But because part of their plan was to get in there, that's not what happened. And of course, once they were in there, they already were known to be enemies.
So what I'm trying to point out here is that we've seen what the Empire under Gideon has done. You have a guy shooting his own co-captain. You have another Imperial officer shooting his own people as well, and then committing suicide.
Yeah.
So it would not be unheard of for Gideon to be like, shoot him down. Who cares?
But here's the problem. All those kills, people knew who were in those stations. You knew that's just a pilot guy. This is just a reserve guy. For all intents and purposes, once that shuttle pops off, you have no idea who's on there. Because
that's why he would just shoot him down.
No, he wouldn't.
Why wouldn't he?
No, because you don't know if that's one of your allies. You don't know if that's somebody coming with information. You have no idea what's happening there.
And
for Gideon, it absolutely would.
And I thought,
are you sure?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's still looking. What if that had his clone engineer on it?
I thought that made Gideon.
He doesn't know that though.
He doesn't.
I think that's probably the best argument.
But no, that's an argument against you too. He doesn't know if it's a Schrodinger's thing. He could be on there. He could not be on there. But if you blast it out of the sky, you run the risk of killing him. Is it worth the risk of killing somebody over the chance of blasting out the enemy and trying to interrogate them?
Why is there a cat on the ship?
There's a cat?
A cat?
Schrodinger's? No. Okay.
The only thing. So what I'm trying to argue is that we've seen that he doesn't care who dies.
But he knows those people. He knows what those people's positions are.
He literally had go back to the episode where the guy kills himself. He messages Gideon, and Gideon says, "You know what to do," and then he commits suicide.
Yes, he knows that guy's rank is. He knows what that guy's position is. So he goes, die. I'm cool with you dying because I already know I've got what I need from you. Just like with everybody else.
He also killed Werner Herzog in season 1. He has no qualms killing.
I'm not saying
high-ranking Imperial officers.
But you're missing what I'm saying.
I already acknowledged that you made. I already acknowledged that you made the best. I already acknowledged that you actually made a counter argument. I already said that. I said. That's actually a good argument. I said that.
I know, but what I'm
I did hear you.
What I'm trying to say is he knows who those people are. He knows what their roles are. He knows I've already gotten what I need from you. It's not about a qualm about killing. When that ship pops out, he doesn't know if I need that person. Do they have something I need? Is it something I want? And because of that, because Gideon wants that advantage, he's not just going to blow them out of the sky immediately.
Grab a snack, chat. We're going to be here a while.
Hey, I'm not like we're not. This is just a friendly debate.
Yeah,
I'm not getting upset at Spencer.
Angry.
No,
Yeah,
no,
Just discussing this. I think this is what's fun about. This is what's fun about Star Wars to me.
No,
I'm not angry at Spencer. I'm just having a friendly debate.
Oh, no. I don't think you guys are angry at each other. We're just going to be here a while because we're totally off recap.
Oh, well, this is part of it, though. I had a critique, and Spencer's like, I don't think that's that big of a deal. And I already pointed out that I don't think it's not a huge thing for me. I'm just I'm very clear that I'm nitpicking.
Down the law.
Yeah.
What is bellish about nitpicking?
It's just this gray mug. Don loves looking at it.
Meanwhile, our stream is sponsored by Goldfish.
Not really.
It is not.
I wish.
We are not sponsored by Goldfish. So I thought that was kind of, for the most part, I thought that was well done. That was just a question that I had. Why wouldn't he maybe order them to just shoot it down?
Yeah.
Especially after they disobeyed orders multiple times.
I get that.
Because the chick says, like, you are not, like, she says, don't land, like, do not land, and they keep going on anyway. So that's where, like, it was a question. Bell's ringing off.
I mean, I could keep going, but I do think it's probably in the best interest to move on.
Right. All right. So after that, they land and they just start shooting everyone. And
that I had a problem with.
The stormtroopers again are just freaking
not a threat. Like
Yeah.
They just
so
get
I don't think it's a girl power moment.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I love
shooting
the whole,
sitting ducks.
I love the whole before that when the TIEs launched, the whole like nod again.
Oh, that was
that was an obvious like nice Easter egg. Like
the what nod?
That was an old
where the TIEs were launching through the opening there,
like the railing or the rail.
But I mean, again, that's in the Clone Wars too. The Star Destroyers launch out of the middle.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. It's awesome.
The TIE Fighters launch out of the middle in the Clone Wars too. So that's not. It is a Battlestar nod, but I think maybe that's a Battlestar nod.
Oh, were you saying that was a
Wars
Battlestar nod? I thought that was just an old school Star Wars nod.
And the whole
Probably
thing,
both.
and the whole thing, you know. Of course, it wouldn't be a Katie Sackhoff appearance without good old like moment of Starbuck crash landing a ship.
That was some bad CG, by the way. That like noticeably stuck out to me as some crappy CG.
Yeah,
I think the budget for the CG was going down for this episode.
It went elsewhere.
Yeah,
it went elsewhere.
Which we'll get to.
Even then, okay. Keep going.
So Don doesn't think this was a woman power moment. I think it is because they leave out the other Mando that we saw from before. He's just gone. No explanation of where he is. Like, I guess you could write it off that like she sent him on a mission somewhere. But he actually seemed to be a higher rank than Sasha Banks' character. So I don't know. I just felt like they erased him.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it is a girl power moment, but I think it's not a obnoxious one because everybody here has a reason for being where they are. Like Din's gone for a reason, Boba's off for a reason. Of course, these four are going to be together. So while it is a girl power moment, it's not the A-Force moment from freaking Endgame.
No, it definitely isn't. Like, I agree.
Stormtroopers. It's not very.
I think it's less. Moment. I think it's less about the enemies and more about like here's the four of them doing this badass run through. Like here's their moment.
So why didn't Boba Fett come back? That was weird. He just kind of dipped out.
I thought he had a few more TIE fighters to.
He had two TIEs that were on his tail.
He jumped to hyperspace.
Took care of, but he jumped to hyperspace and got out of there because they told him to peel off and get out of there.
Yeah, it was weird that he wouldn't come back or circle back, especially after they had taken the ship. But yeah, so after they've like they're boarding it and they're making their way through the ship. This scene was really weird. The Mandos, which we know have the Beskar armor, so they can act as shields for Fennec and Cara Dune, literally use their jetpacks, fly off this railing, disappear, and like leave Cara Dune and Fennec like exposed, and then they're able to like mow down the originals, the first stormtroopers, and then I guess a pair come like behind them or something, if I remember correctly. And then it's like, oh, like we got you now, and it's like, no, like the Mandos are there. Like it was I don't know, it was kind of cheesy.
I liked it. I thought it was
just
cool.
the way it was done.
It was cool because they kind of like jetpacked up and both like shot off whistling birds at the same time.
It was I thought a lot of the action scenes in this episode were rip-offs from the SWTOR opening cinematics. That scene was totally
that fight
from the
makes
bounty.
sense to me.
Why? Why would they jump off when they're like the tanks? They're the heavies.
Because when you see when they're walking down the hallway, first 4 stormtroopers pop out in front of them, and that's when the 2 Mandos take out 2 of them, and then Kara and Ming-Na Wen take out the others. So then the Mandalorians dip down, and that's when the squad appears behind them and goes, we've got you, lay down your weapons, and then the Mandalorians pop back up and save Kara and Ming-Na Wen.
What was the point of them jumping off of the bridge?
For a sneak attack?
The only point of them jumping off the bridge was because they wanted to set up that action set piece. That's the whole purpose.
I saw it more as what's the most effective and quickest way to take out a troop of stormtroopers. Is it double-sided bombing, or is it let's all stand here on a crowded tunnel shooting lasers at each other?
Except they had no idea those stormtroopers were there. So,
I'm pretty sure they did.
No, they came from behind.
Mm-hmm. They came from behind.
It also doesn't make, like, again, the Mandos, remember, have the Beskar, which can deflect the blaster bolts. So them getting off when they're the heavies that can like take the damage, which we saw didn't do.
But they already because of their plan, because of their little plan, they didn't need to be armor anymore.
And
because look.
Deviant Park, thank you, sir. That is a very logical comment.
What happens is when they walk forward, it's the 4 of them together, and they see 4 stormtroopers in the door across the way. 2 of them get shot by the Mandalorians, and then 2 of them get shot by Gina and Ming-Na Wen. After that, they jump, and that's when they turn, like the stormtroopers squad shows up, and they go, "Drop your weapons." At that point, because they knew their plan was to sneak attack bomb them, they knew that they didn't have to serve as any sort of protection for them.
I'll have to watch that scene again.
Yeah, I think you're confused.
I am literally watching it right now.
Right, they jump off. So you're saying that they already knew that their plan was to bomb the stormtroopers because they had jumped off already.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't know the stormtroopers are there, so that theory
I
doesn't
assume
work.
yes, they know that they are being chicks.
No, they cleared the way.
You're telling me that that 4 trained soldiers aren't going to think that they have other people coming after them?
They had cleared the way behind them.
You're telling me nobody.
You would have someone behind you, yes, to cover you, but you wouldn't be like, oh, let me just jump off this bridge.
Right.
All I'm saying is that it was totally.
All right.
All I'm saying is it was totally written so you could get the cool action scene, and I didn't buy it.
Then okay, cool.
Yeah, Bad Comic Review says they were fighting the patriarchy with a sneak attack. But yeah, that scene was that scene was totally taken from the SWTOR cinematic where the bounty hunter does the aerial attack, and then you also got the commando cinematic with Gina firing the minigun. That was also from SWTOR as well.
Which also
it's a male commando in the SWTOR one.
Which also I love the fact that
at the laser gun jams.
Yeah, that she had, because she's using an older model repeating blaster. And it's one of the heavy repeating blasters like they used like early on in the Galactic Rebellion. So, things been in service for like ever. So she's having issues with it, and it's funny, like Bo-Katan just dryly said, "Do you need help with that?"
I thought that scene was I get that they were trying to make a funny of it. It felt like MCU humor to me, Thor Ragnarok humor, which I
I didn't like it.
And I liked it.
I liked it. It was fine.
I just like, oh, of course I felt the only reason why her gun jammed is so they could explain why Mando's gun jammed the previous episode.
And then she just
I thought it was just to have an action scene.
She just banged it on the floor and it
there wasn't an action scene at that point though.
In here, when her gun jams?
No, she's in the elevator. We're talking about the elevator after the gun has already jammed and she's banging it on the elevator floor.
She's not banging it on the floor. She's like working on it.
No, she bangs it on the floor.
She bangs it on the floor to make it work.
She bangs it on the floor, dude.
Yeah.
And that's when Bo-Katan makes that like snarky remark.
Mm-hmm.
Some more shooting, yes.
So yeah, I just thought that was just kind of a corny MCU humor, and I know a lot of people like that. So this was my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she just
actually jam.
Yeah, well, that's why I said the only reason for that was because they had to explain why Din Djarin's gun stopped firing the previous episode or whatever. And then she bangs it on the ground and it like fixes it, that's just like a trope I feel like now.
Mm-hmm.
If something's broken, you just whack it and it works.
That's like an old Xena.
Yep. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's been times anybody's had issues and then they whack it and it works. So.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's a trope. Yeah, it's a film trope, and then obviously it works sometimes in real life too. What's up, Zacharox? Thank you for joining us. What are you guys talking about? I have no idea why you're laughing.
I have no idea what's going on.
Exactly, Don.
Anyways,
all right.
Okay. So next there is what happens next? They take the bridge, I feel like, or does it switch to Din? Like, so while they're all doing this, Din is like sneaking around.
It's happening like simultaneously.
Yeah. So
that comic reviews got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it from what I said? Okay. So yeah, Din sneaking around as they're like mowing down stormtroopers that are no threat, and then they take the bridge. They are shooting everyone. They get the bridge, and then Din, I think like before they get to the bridge, Din he fights the Dark Trooper.
The Dark Troopers.
Oh yeah. It's a weird scene. Like, it's a big build up to like all these troopers coming out of this one room.
I didn't think it was a build up to all of them coming out. The whole point, like their whole plan was to take them all
power up. It's like
no, there was to create tension.
25%. Now we can walk.
Right. No, the whole. Yeah, it was a build up. The whole thing was like to try and get there before the Dark Troopers were deployed.
Yeah, but it wasn't to me. It
off
wasn't a
like a
build up.
red.
It wasn't a build up to like fighting all of them. I didn't see that coming at all.
Well, for the audience, yes, it's a build up to they're gonna eventually have to fight all of them.
I figured he'd probably have to fight one or two, but I didn't think he'd actually fight all of them.
Yeah, to me, it was just like it was this. It served the same purpose as the meter on the transport last time with the tension it created. You got to get there. He's got to get there in time before they power up, and they kept showing them power up.
Orange Hat. That's exactly what they were going for. That was a Terminator fight.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what they were going for.
What do you mean? It was a Cylon. I thought.
It's a freaking Cylon.
I thought that fight was fun. I don't have no idea where the staff came from though.
He had it.
He had it. Remember?
Yeah, he had it with him.
He brought it on. He brought it on with him.
Does the staff extend?
No.
No.
It's with him?
Yeah, it's with him.
Yeah.
Where was he? Where was it?
It was on his back.
Oh, it's on his back. Okay.
Yeah, he had it on his back.
I must have just missed that. So yeah, I like that he was actually getting his butt handed to him. It really showed the threat of the Dark Troopers. So that really worked.
Yeah, see, that's him coming off the ship. It's right there.
Okay, yeah.
I really like that because then because that really played well for the end when we get towards, I guess, not really the end, but like the climax scene.
Mm-hmm.
That fight actually was really good. I really enjoyed that.
I liked it, and then when the flamethrower came out and he roasted his insides, I was like, man, of course that's going to be the weakness. And then it wasn't, and I was pretty happy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know what they said about the Dark Troopers? That they had removed the human element.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like the dumbest of all the stormtroopers.
Which the whole purpose of getting clones, though, is because droids were ineffective.
Which is weird because, like, droids are more effective
nowadays.
Well, apparently now they are, but we all know that as Darth Vader tells us, you should not put your faith in these technological monstrosities. It all pales in comparison to the power of the Force. I'm paraphrasing there.
Yeah, something like that.
I think he tells Tarkin that.
But the thing is,
and he stays alive because of the Force.
I really like the fight between Din and the Dark Trooper. You know, it was pretty cool. I really liked the staff work when he eventually had to like get creative because if you remember, he got off a shot with the whistling birds and that didn't even like phase it really.
It just kind of like shook him.
Yeah,
it's magic missile for that guy.
Yeah, he wasted the whistling bird on it.
Yeah, I liked how he had to use all of his arsenal to try and figure out how to beat it, and then even then he was still getting owned.
Getting trashed,
for the most part. And we saw that the Beskar can take enough damage if enough force is applied. Apparently, I thought that was really good. The fact that there is an airlock in the room that houses the Dark Troopers is kind of suspect.
Well, it was
I don't know enough about ship design.
Well, no, it was a repurposed cargo bay.
They used that in the last episode, though, right?
What do you mean?
The tragedy
to
episode?
launch them from there.
Yeah.
So
that might be why. Yeah. So
and they also said they have to be kept cool. So I thought like maybe they open it up.
No, it's a
repurposed to keep them
probably. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
It was a repurposed cargo bay too.
Right. So the airlock is logical. That's how they deploy them. Is what TV Pork says. I think that's. I know that I did see some people were complaining about that though. And then so after that he goes to the brig after ejecting all of the Dark Troopers, believing that they're in the vacuum of space, and then he goes to the brig.
Brutal with the stormtroopers.
Oh, he kills a couple of the stormtroopers, right?
Yeah,
there's like 2 or 3 of them,
and then does a choke on the other. Oh,
yeah, he chokes him out. Yeah, so there's lots more good combat there, and then.
Dude, when he broke that one's neck with the staff, I was like,
dude, he's like dangling him off the floor too.
This is Disney,
showing his strength there. So we were actually got to see him like doing some down and gritty, brutal stuff there, which is what we should have expected since that first season where he cut the guy in half with the blast door.
Right.
And so then we get to see the Darksaber with Gideon putting it at Grogu's neck, and Grogu doesn't use the Force at all. Neither does Gideon. And we get an interesting discussion between Gideon and Mando. Mando is like, "All right, going to get him, and I'm peacing out." And then Gideon like attacks him.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Okay, now that we're at this part.
Yeah.
Gideon says he had already gotten all that he needed from Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning all his blood. So does that mean Pershing came back from the light cruiser? And they were following Pershing?
I'm just assuming he was already like, I don't know. My assumption was that he had just harvested the blood and it was somewhere on the ship, and maybe the doctor was coming to experiment on it. But then I also think he was lying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with John there, but I explicitly think it was only about Grogu, like not the whole plan. Like he's just like, I'm done with this piece. You can have it. But yeah, it was a lie.
Because he tries to kill Bo-Katan and then he tries to kill Grogu at the end at the bridge with the blaster.
Also, wait, does Gideon know? Like, have we ever gotten confirmation that Gideon can use the Force?
No, he's just hinted at it. We know he's trained with the lightsaber, and they've made it so Force users can use the lightsaber. So can use the lightsaber. Sabine Wren.
Yeah, Han used it.
Who's that?
Han.
Oh well, he used it just to cut the thing open, right?
Yeah, but
the tauntaun.
I don't think. Yeah, the thing.
He wasn't using it to actually fight with it.
Yeah, the thing is though, with the Darksaber, it's been plenty of times.
The comics now.
Plenty of times, non-Force users use the Darksaber because the Darksaber is, but the Darksaber is a different case entirely. But yeah.
Well, even non-Force users use lightsabers too. I mean, Grievous.
Yeah.
Even though he's like a droid, so he has like a human heart. So who knows? Like, does he have a human mind too?
His head and heart are human or
organic.
Organic.
So maybe
he's got like that RoboCop 2 kind of thing going on.
I don't think he's Force sensitive though.
He was just trained by Dooku to use all those lightsabers.
I don't. Was it Dooku? I thought he kind of just programmed himself.
No, he tells Obi-Wan, he's like Dooku trained me or whatever. When he's like taunting Obi-Wan, I think he says that. Might be wrong.
I don't remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, he says, "Fool! I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku."
Oh yeah, it's like one of the coolest lines he had. Like one of the only lines he had.
And then he pulls out like the two sabers, and then he like goes and gets the other one. And it's like what? And then he does like this like super spin. And it's like, dude, Obi-Wan is dead. But you know he's not because it's like, how is he gonna get out of this hot?
Lizard chase.
Yeah. So then, so we get a pretty good fight with between Gideon and the Mando. Mando defeats him. I felt so maybe this is just me, and I kind of talked about this in the video I published earlier. That people are gonna. I feel like I'm gonna make this argument that I feel like he lost on purpose. Maybe, but then at the same time, why did he attack him in the first place? But the reason why he attacks him in the first place is so he can lose, so Mando will get the Darksaber, so he can try and like sow discord between Mando and
maybe.
Thank you,
I can
John.
see that. I can see that.
Thank you, because I thought that too. And it was interesting that you say that because if you go and we'll go and touch on it in a few minutes when we get to. When we get to the next scene, because that's coming up, but yeah, I think that was intentional, and he was trying to stick it to them by basically putting that discord there in between and the tension, because in fact the Darksaber does have to be won in honorable combat.
And so, well, that's a retcon. But and so this kind of goes back to what we were arguing before where I was debating before with Spencer, is that he didn't shoot them down because he had it all planned. He wanted them to board in the first place. So I'm arguing against myself there. I'm arguing against myself on that one.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'd have to watch the choreography of the fight again, but it does seem like there are like Gideon was actually going for some killing blows.
He was. I mean, he was trying to.
It seemed more like a desperate fight,
But he was hedging his bets, though, Todd, and I think John's right on this one, because he figured, okay, I win, then I take out this guy that's a thorn in my side, meaning Din Djarin, and if I don't, well, then
I can do this with
it. I could still screw over. He's thinking. He's playing 4D chess, basically.
And he had just given that speech about how he knew everything, or implied that he knew everything about what was going on.
So he was thinking a couple moves ahead, and that was essentially, his plan B. Like, okay, I'm not going to beat this guy, so I might as well end this fight and go for the next opportunity I have, which is to give him the Darksaber and then throw everything into chaos, which made sense. So yeah, I think that observation is actually brilliant, Sean, because I sensed that too, watching it, and I watched this episode multiple times. I watched it 3 times already.
Dang.
To me, it was
that.
like it was.
I get
it's
that.
the theory that people have that the Emperor lost to Mace Windu, so he could turn Anakin to the dark side.
Anakin.
Yeah, it's the same argument people making about the stormtroopers. Like the Empire told them not to fire on Luke.
But
in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
but for me, in the immediate moment, I do believe that was Gideon's, like, his basically two-pronged assault. If he wasn't gonna take him out outright in the fight in the first initial stages of the fight, then he knew that, like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna yield and essentially and he's going to be in even worse predicament. It'll be just as bad as if he did lose, because now he's got the Darksaber and he's screwed.
Right, and obviously that plan backfired because Din wasn't going to fight Bo-Katan, and then what ends up happening is even when we were about to maybe see them duel potentially, like there was that possibility, the Dark Troopers show up, and then Gideon is just like, you've lost. And I was so happy. I was so happy about this, because I thought when the Dark Trooper showed up and started hammering the blast door, I thought, like, oh my gosh, are you seriously just going to have them, like, one punch it? Like, please don't do that. Because we just saw them trying to punch out of the other door that wasn't a blast door, and they were taking a little bit to get out of there, and they didn't get out of there. So I was glad that they weren't able to break through the blast door. So I actually thought
it was a consistent power, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, thank you. They didn't like Hulk smash.
Right, yeah.
So I really like that tension there with the dark troopers, and like they knew how like powerful these guys were, and that they didn't really stand a chance. And then we get the super member berries here.
Well, before we jump into that, as Mando's walking Gideon back prisoner to the bridge and everything like that, they make their way to the bridge, and obviously there's the tension with Cara Dune and Bo-Katan is they're arguing about what to do with Gideon.
Yeah, because Cara was like, he did his job, he brought him back alive, so now your bounty is double or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still trying to imply that he's doing some kind of bounty mission.
Yeah,
to me, that was just showing that she's a representative of the New Republic. Still, they were like trying to like imply that.
Yeah,
that's probably more of like hey, guess what? I'm from the New Republic. You know what you get now? Like, you can get a big bounty on him. Like, I don't know if Din necessarily knew it.
I'm a representative of the New Republic, but let's go recruit these 2 Mandalorians instead of go get
the New Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, when your organization is funded on a bunch of terrorists, you can have some leeway.
but the thing is,
it's because there's chaos in the New Republic.
But the thing is,
that's like the beginning of the scroll. Chaos in the New Republic.
The thing is with that, we've had so many issues before this about them not paying attention to details, and I love how even though that they've got the binders on Gideon and whatever, he's laying, he's sitting there where he's sitting, where they've sat him down on the floor.
No, he gets knocked
With
down
the-
by.
with the bla-
He
yeah,
gets knocked down.
He gets thrown by Bo
Kara.
or Kara.
Yeah.
Just happens to be right next to one of the dead officers whose blaster's on the ground. And I like the fact that Gideon spots that, takes his cape and kind of covers it up for later. And we'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, I thought that was a really great detail, because a lot of times TV shows, and this is a lot of modern TV shows don't pay attention to like a small detail like that.
This show doesn't either.
I thought that was good.
For the most part.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It does in some cases, but a lot of cases, I mean, if you go back, I mean, there's a lot of details that are missing in.
And this was just and this is one time I want to point that out and actually praise them for it,
Right.
because it adds to Gideon's character too, because okay, the guy is devious. He does think on the fly. He's always planning, plotting, manipulating. I like that. So it's just another thing.
Orange Hat here does ask a really good question. I have no idea what that means either. They've used it twice now, because they used it in the last episode as well, because they talk about how Mayfeld, I think, was former ISB, and the guy he shoots is like ISB as well. I have no idea what that means. I think that's kind of close. Science Bureau?
Imperial Security Bureau.
Security Bureau.
Yeah.
I think that, I guess that they were trying to say that they're basically the SS. That's what I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
Or,
that comparison.
Or the what is the whatever Stalin had? I forget what.
Oh my gosh!
It's not the KGB,
It's not the Red Guard either.
They had some.
It's something, yeah.
Some name too. But yeah, I felt like it was they're like that's what they are. That's the SS for the Empire.
For the Empire.
Yeah, I feel like that's mentioned in a comic or something, maybe.
Yeah.
But Imperial Security Bureau sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So after Gideon tries to get Bo-Katan to fight Din, and an X-wing lands, doesn't give any information. We see a hooded figure in a black robe just basically waste all of these dark troopers.
And this is all like black and white footage. They're watching.
It's security cam footage, yeah.
Honest thoughts when you first saw that scene. What was going through your mind about who that was?
I still thought it was Ezra Bridger until I saw the hand.
So I'm with John. With the X-Wing, I thought it was Ezra, and I especially thought it might have been like a dark side influence Ezra, because of like one of the first things you see are all the dark troopers like turning. Like now they're turning to fight, but at first I thought it was like, oh, here's somebody higher ranking than us. Maybe. Yeah, exactly. And then it was until I saw that he had a gloved hand. That's when I was like, oh, I know who that is. I even didn't believe it when I saw the color of the lightsaber. I was like, no way am I right. No way am I right.
Ezra uses a green lightsaber too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so no, Darth Jar Jar is the one who saved Grogu during Order 66.
Remember
that's just a fan theory, by the way. That's not.
That's
not. But yeah, I thought it was Ezra until I saw the mechanical hand, or the gloved hand. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's Luke. And I will say the de-aging was really good.
I thought it was pretty impressive, to be honest. There were some people shitting on it, and
I think when he started talking is when you see that.
Right.
But also Candy Valley there.
But it's also because like it does that what is it, like opposite shot thing where like it focused on Din and then it focused only on Luke, and that's when they hung on his face. That's when it got a little like, why isn't your face moving up here?
You still suspend your disbelief on that.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was good enough.
It was one of the better ones. It was one of the better ones.
Yeah, I thought it.
Don's like, no.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't think it it was awful. I mean, it wasn't as bad as some people think it was. You know, I thought it was okay. I mean, and the epicness of the moment anyway when
Takes his head down.
when the reveal came was just, I mean, it was just awesome. I mean,
I did enjoy it.
It was.
Luke
And then you realize that he goes to Octo and
I know.
hates himself.
I saw your the article. Everybody should check out the article because this
But at that
does not
moment-
bode well for Baby Yoda.
That's totally a
that
troll
point-
article, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course.
Me and
But that
Drew
was my first thought. As soon as he like got in the elevator and it closed, I went, "Wait a minute, Jedi. We all know what happens, right?"
I really liked the callback to Rogue One with the
the Vader scene.
the smoke door.
as there was that, and also just Luke kind of running the gauntlet between
with Vader, like Vader did.
I thought that was a pretty awesome scene, and I loved seeing him use like force pull, force push, and then the
Force crush.
final kill was force crush, and I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, that was really rad.
That's the Luke everybody's been waiting to see, and they never saw it.
Yeah,
I saw him in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not the Disney trilogy.
yeah, and it was.
It's got a name now, The Rise of the First Order.
and
And it was Hamill. I was surprised. I
That
was
Hamill.
I was like, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Like, and I was like, oh, it's a DH Hamill. What?
I was very surprised at that too.
I was like,
Yeah.
is it going to be Sebastian Stan? Is it going to be Stan? You could tell when he turned around to leave, you could tell that it was Hamill, old man.
Oh
old
yeah,
Hamill.
oh yeah.
Because they didn't fully color his hair.
Yeah,
You could see some gray.
but I thought that the whole sequence was really cool when Luke came in, and in between that, let's not forget, they cut to a part where the portion where Bo-Katan gets shot.
Oh yeah, So while Luke is wrecking all the dark troopers, Gideon realizes that like his plan is no longer going to be effective. He didn't predict Luke, again, this is like, oh, maybe he doesn't know everything because he doesn't know about Luke, which is crazy because he knew that Grogu was like communicating with someone. Like he was on the planet. He was there.
I would assume.
I think it's safe to assume that he was when Grogu was communicating. He was blowing up the Razor Crest from space. Like he blew up the Razor Crest. Like he would have seen that. You would like. I think you would have seen a giant light beam shooting up.
And I feel like the Empire is going to have records of what that planet is and stuff. So, like, I don't know. He should. I feel like he knew that Grogu was talking to somebody.
Yeah, they've made it very clear in the comics that the Emperor was also collecting all kinds of Jedi and Sith artifacts.
I like the look of fear on Gideon's face, though.
Yeah.
When he
Dude, he's
realizes
so
who it is that's coming.
Giancarlo.
Good. Yeah.
That guy.
Giancarlo is a
tube Death
Such a
Stars.
great actor.
Yeah,
he is really good.
He sold it really well, and like you were saying, John, when he figured the plan wasn't working, so he goes and he finds a nice opportune moment to shoot at Bo-Katan, and
I thought he killed her.
And for a moment we all thought that she was going to be killed because he knew exactly where to shoot her. In between, like
he shot her. He didn't shoot her where the Beskar was.
It was like the lighting, like the black lighting.
She was dead.
Like right in all the right spots.
And then at the end, when Luke's there, it's like, oh, she's standing up. It looks fine.
Well, no, he was trying to go for even more blows, and then Din dives in and takes the last few shots. So
I thought he points it at Grogu, and then Din blocks the Grogu shots.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So he tries to kill Grogu. So that also to me means that he got what he wanted from him already, because then he's just trying to kill him.
Yeah. So
that's where
I thought that was more of a desperate play, because like he saw that Luke's like a factor now that he didn't expect at all. Because he just tried to take everybody out. I mean, he turns the gun on himself too.
And then of course, Cara Dune robs him of the moment, because she just like knocks him out with the nice gun butt to the head, and he's down. And so then we cut back to Luke. Obviously, the epic coming up the elevator scene. As we said, he's running the gauntlet and just like eviscerates these dark troopers, and like I said, it was awesome to see, because just seeing like you're getting to see like fully trained Luke just go on a rampage, and it's nice because it's something
you get max power, Luke. Yeah,
and we knew how powerful those dark troopers were, because we saw like Mando getting owned by.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It was like seeing Luke cut through them so easily just shows you how like powerful,
awesome he is.
Yeah, because don't forget, and we know this, John, from Fallen Order, from the story, those were built to fight Jedi. In case they ran into more
That's
Jedi.
the games, though.
Yeah, I don't think that's canon. Is that canon?
Fallen Order is canon, yeah.
Oh, what? They are in Fallen Order?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So you gotta.
You fight them. I guess you fight them.
I assume.
You fight them. You fight them occasionally.
Do you see them actually kill Jedi?
Later, Orange Hat.
Well, no, but it's a thing. It's a thing. Obviously with Cal Kestis being the game, it's a whole.
It seems weird that they would create Dark Troopers to fight Jedi when you have the Inquisitors. That seems strange.
Yeah, but the Empire's all
especially when you killed them all already.
Yeah, the Empire's about having fail safes. But the thing is
plans on plans.
But the thing
creating something that can kill you, that's kind of weird.
But the thing is
that's the whole point of being a Sith.
But the thing is with Luke's sequence, I thought it was done well. I'm pretty sure that we all agree it was done pretty well. The action stuff, especially, and then of course we get it to where finally the fighting's done. He's waiting outside the blast doors. Mando goes to, he's telling him, open the doors. Yeah, it's funny. You just think that Wynn's like, you crazy? and
he just goes and does it anyways.
Mando just says, the hell with it, hits the button, opens the doors, and in strides the hooded figure that we've seen. And then we get to the reveal. And obviously, he drops his hood, showing that it is indeed Luke Skywalker, as if the hand with the green lightsaber, the trademark black glove, wasn't enough. Well, you get your confirmation, and it's pretty cool. And I like Din. At least they stuck with the fact that he didn't know who Luke Skywalker was or never heard of him. It just says, "Are you a Jedi?" And then Luke's like, "I am." And everybody else
should have known who he was.
Kara should have known. Yeah.
Well, there was an interesting.
Even maybe Fennec.
There was an interesting thing, John.
Maybe.
She had kind of a knowing. She had kind of a knowing look, on her face, which I think she knew it was Commander Skywalker, but she didn't say a word.
General Skywalker. I think
General Skywalker.
You would think he would have been a general after.
Yeah, but I think she knew that, or she may, like I said, she may not have even been involved in with a lot of the higher ups, so maybe she didn't even know.
You would still hear stories about it. I even think they write about that. The pilots from that, the Alphabet Squadron, which I think that's really what it's called. I think it's called Alphabet Squadron. They know about Luke Skywalker, and they talk about how
Luke is a commander. I just looked it up. His rank is commander.
Yeah. See, I was right.
Well, I just assumed he would have been promoted by then. He probably just leaves the military.
Right.
And he's just Jedi Master now or
build
something.
the Jedi Order.
But I'm pretty sure in Alphabet Squadron they like diss Luke, and it's like Luke didn't do anything. It was someone else that was like the
It's
real
the fangirl. Yeah, there's that one
Yeah.
fangirl who's like, no, Luke sucks.
It was Jyn Erso who did it.
Yeah.
So even these Alphabet Squadron pilots know who Luke Skywalker is.
But the thing is though, like I don't know, I kind of thought that maybe she had an inkling of who he was because she kind of had this knowing look on her face, and from the way that Gina's body language portrayed it. So I don't know if she did or didn't. It's kind of interesting to wonder. I like the fact that it kind of leaves you wondering because she kind of had that look on her face, like
Gideon knew who he was.
Yeah,
that was the implication. He knew. He was like, gotta shoot Grogu before this guy shows up.
Or it's just the fact that a Jedi in general showed up.
but
especially when that he just saw tear through everything.
Right. That was also that was something that like kind of left me questioning. He like Gideon is like knocked out, and there's Luke doesn't even like address that guy or anything. He's just there for Grogu and
there for the child.
Could care less about this.
Well,
whatever
maybe it's like you just said, like whatever. Forget the military. I'm out with the military.
No,
and
I think it's more like what.
So this is why I'm interested in. He was communicating with Grogu. He knows that Grogu's been experimented on. Wouldn't he want to see if they've been experimenting on other Force-sensitive people that have high M counts?
He would have sensed there were Force-sensitive people there.
No, he didn't. He didn't. No. Well, he might. Yeah, on the ship, yes, but that doesn't mean they aren't other facilities where, like on Navarro or
Camino or
wherever else they're doing experiments on. That was like we know in I think in Clone Wars, Ahsoka rescues Force-sensitive infants from some kind of facility on Mustafar, maybe there's some, I forget which planet it is. Orange Hat would know.
But he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. So there's that. So that's what I'm saying. We know that they were experimenting on. There's this experimentation happening even before the Mandalorian with Force-sensitive infants and like younglings, because Ahsoka rescues them with Anakin from one of those planets. I can't remember. So that's what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't he be like, what's going on here? Figure out like what's happening. Like, he knows that he would be. I don't know. I just feel like he would, like Luke Skywalker would want to investigate that, but then we know that this Luke Skywalker doesn't even try and go save his nephew. So
I'll play devil's advocate, and for me, if you want, I'll play devil's advocate, and it's the fact that Luke is only there for the child because he sees that, Gideon is here or whatever, but he's going to be taken care of. Like, for Luke, his mission is not to involve himself with the Empire or the Rebellion or any of that kind of stuff. He just wants to leave and build his temple. At least that's what we think he's going to do. We don't know where we're going with this. But
and I think it's pretty understood that he knows that I'm assuming at that time that Leia's involved heavily with the New Republic. So I'm assuming that he's going to leave that whole situation for her to clean up.
Let's see.
I don't think he's worried about that. He's worried about training Jedi.
Well, right. If that's what I'm saying. If he's worried about training Jedi, he would want to find out if there are more experiments being made on potential Jedi prospects.
But I'm not going to really nitpick on that. I mean, I would like.
Well, it's not a nitpick. It's just like to me, I'm not like trying. I'm not trying to nitpick there. I'm just like asking a question. Why wouldn't he be interested in that?
Well, for nitpicking, then I have the point of he's only got a limited amount of time, and there's only a limited amount of budget for him to be on screen. So he needs to get to the point as fast as possible before the money runs out.
Yeah.
That took me out a little bit.
I'll give you, but then counter that. All it takes is one extra sentence of him going like I'll do a follow up like on this or whatever. It's like something just casual like that. That's all it takes. You don't need a whole extra scene.
How much money
exactly.
I don't think he's just a cameo. He went off with Baby Yoda, which is like the biggest merch thing Disney's got going.
Yeah, there's no way they're letting Baby Yoda go.
But they also closed out the story, which is the thing, and I like the fact that now before we jump ahead, you get to the part where he kind of like reaches out, addresses Grogu, says, come here, little one, and Din said, kind of, you can start to sense now the change in Din, even not seeing him, at least at this point. He's still under the helmet, and you can kind of sense that he's not exactly enthused to give up his kid again, and he's like, he doesn't want to go with you. And Luke then says, well, he's just waiting on your permission. And we get a really good moment. And man, I'm sorry. It'll make any grown person cry. and it was a good moment. It was a damn good moment. If you were crying happy tears when Luke showed up, man, you were crying some crazy tears at this one, because just the whole thing. And I thought that, man, if there was ever a time to take the helmet off, when little baby Grogu touched his face while he still had the helmet on, and he got the message quick, he removed the helmet, and they just kind of like looked at one another for a second, and then baby Grogu reached out ever so gently and touched his face, and man, I think I lost it when I kind of saw like Pedro's character for once actually kind of like get really emotional, because you could read it on his face, and I was just like, man, no. Just kind of like a tear came there, because it really was good.
It was sad, yeah.
It really reinforced.
I didn't cry, but it definitely tugged at my heartstrings.
It really reinforced that.
I didn't feel anything.
No, it's sad because you know what's going to happen to Grogu now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess to me, like, I didn't feel like there was. I know they tried to make it that like there was like this super deep connection with them. I don't know. I never felt like it was. I don't know. Maybe I just did. I never like it. Never really jumped out at me. I know they tried to do it with that speech last time. He means more to me than you'll ever know. We've seen him kind of just being a babysitter. I don't know.
I mean, you've also seen how that's kind of changed the Mandalorian from being this like. From how we saw him in the first episode, and how we thought he was going to be portrayed, where he was like this solo bounty hunter who really kind of didn't give a crap about anything, and then he gets Grogu, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, he could abandon this kid, but then he starts to develop this connection for him, and so he cares about him, and that's why he kind of keeps trying to find where he's got to go.
I would say go back super deep connection, though. I'd say it is a connection, but not like.
Yeah, that's why
I'd say it's a dude. If I traveled like. For me, like the way I look at it, if I had a dog for, I don't know, let's say 7-8 months a year, and I found out it had a real owner and I had to give it back to the real owner, that would be yeah, you could say, oh, you only had that dog for a year, whatever. But to me, you can have a connection with that dog in that time.
Yeah, no, I guess my issue is that I don't feel like it was portrayed that well. Like I said, like they tried to do it with that speech that he gave. They did it there, but I never got like that. He was like a father to the Grogu. Like they try to like oh, he's attached to you with like the Ahsoka episode. I don't know. I never like it was just people saying that.
I mean, listen. I thought there was. I mean,
Mando, like he's helping Mando.
It was
in
kind
his own stupid Baby Yoda way.
It was kind of a stepdad becoming a real, it was like a step.
Parent.
It was like a foster parent, and then eventually the kid warms up to you and looks at you like a and calls you dad.
Deviant Pork says, I was like, he didn't even ask how to find him. He did though. We see each other again as you do with a girl you met at the bar. Oh gosh, Deviant. Yeah, he didn't ask like where Luke was going or like how he could get in touch or anything.
Yeah, that was I mean
but I mean, isn't that part of Jedi training? You're supposed to leave.
No, he'll just use the tracking fob.
Yeah, Jedi training, you're supposed to remove all temporal attachments.
Yeah.
Although we know that they don't. That's because that's a struggle.
But the thing,
it's a struggle, but I mean, I assume that's like Luke's not going to be like, oh yeah, here's your the PO box where you can reach him at summer camp.
Right. No, I agree with you there.
Well,
Mando should have microchipped. Hold on. Bad Comic Review says Mando should have microchipped that kid. He wandered off all the time. Well, don't you remember? He still has the fob. Just because we didn't see it in season 2 doesn't mean that it wasn't there in season 1. We know it's still out there. So yeah, he's got the microchip too.
It broke.
I wonder like how much I wonder if Mando was wondering how much the bill's going to be for all this schooling now that Baby Yoda has to do, because now he has to pay for his time away at the Jedi Academy. It's like, how many credits is he going to have to cop up for that? Like, what tuition is Luke going to charge?
Probably none.
Probably has to get some life insurance. That'll pay off eventually.
Like,
nobody?
Eventually, when he commits suicide.
But
suicide or.
But no, in all seriousness, I
burns himself up with the Force.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Really, all in all, a touching sequence, and I thought it was a nice season finale, and there's a lot of threads left over, and we'll get into that in a second, because we also got to analyze the post-credit scene here. But the thing is that I'm interested to see, even though that technically we got the payoff, the storyline is now closed out for the first 2 seasons. I think there is going to be a season 3. And I still think
they announced the season 3.
Yeah, they already confirmed that.
Kennedy confirmed that in the Disney investor meeting.
Yeah, and so
it's coming out before Christmas, they said.
Because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, this next thing that we're going to discuss in the post-credit scene is going to be replacing it, and I'm like, no, it's not. There's season 3 of The Mandalorian, because there's a tons of threads that still need to be addressed, and it's like what I said a couple days ago on Bounding Live when we were talking about predictions and things like that. Well,
Spencer's prediction was right.
Yeah. As I said, though, season 3 is going to be all about retaking Mandalore, and I feel like I'm dead on corrected with that.
Yeah, you were right on that one.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I think that's that's probably.
Yeah.
That's what there's that, or we see him, there's what the show kind of, I felt like was the promise of the show in the very beginning, that we're going to see him just kind of going on bounty hunting quests and stuff like that, which that looks like we're going to get in this other show, if it's a show.
Yeah. We'll, in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, pull it up, Spencer.
You got it.
Really interesting stuff here. Oh God, I love that shot. I really enjoy it as we see they cut into the Twin Suns. You see, it's Tatooine. You can see Jabba's palace, and then you just you see the
you get that shadow, the silhouette.
You get the silhouette. You
walking
see
down the stairs.
You see the court inside, and it's bustling a little bit. The Gamorreans
were different. The Gamorreans were different from the beginning of the season.
They weren't
they were the real Gamorreans from
fat ones.
Exactly.
Fat ones.
Yeah, they're the fatties.
Not the being starved slave ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had those, and then we cut to the court inside, and we see that Bib Fortuna has now taken Jabba's place. It kind of took over the vacant operation.
He's got his own
size too.
He's got his own Twi'lek slave.
Yeah,
Dude, I love seeing that guy again.
I like seeing that he was big though. You make a good point there, Don, because it's just like the excess of Jabba's like criminal behavior
and his lifestyle. Yeah,
and his lifestyle. It's
very hedonistic.
Yeah. So you see that, and he's in there just chilling on the throne, and then there's blaster fire. It's Fennec. She's coming in, laying people out, and then the Twi'lek slave girl's like sitting there struggling, and she kind of like gives her a nod and shoots away her chain, tells her to get on out of there, and then you see the shadow coming down the steps, and it's Boba, and of course. Bib Fortuna's sitting there like, I heard rumors. I thought you were dead. Blah, blah, blah. And then Boba just point blank shoots him between the eyes.
That was awesome.
It was incredible. And then he just sort of sweeps his corpse out of the way. And guess what? Boba sits down on the throne, as we see here in the nice photo that we're showing right now. And Fennec grabs the nice
blue liquid.
Yeah, she grabs the blue liquid.
The Scopchick or whatever that is. And then she just takes a swig, and they're just sitting there. I love that. You have this cool theme. I really like the music that they played for it, because it's almost like a gangsterish type of music.
Yeah.
And and it just, you see it come across. And it's kind of cool that they kept this secret. I will give Disney credit for keeping that secret, not dumping that at the announcement.
I don't know if this was a secret, dude. We were reporting rumors about this for like a year.
But the book of Boba Fett coming in December of 2021, and I really am intrigued to see.
It says December? Where does it say that?
December 2021.
Does it say that, Spencer?
Yeah. It's playing. Yep.
Okay, so let's get into the December 21 Book of Boba Fett. Is this season 3 of Mandalorian?
Well, that's what some people are speculating. I don't think it is, because my money's on the fact that they've had success with better or worse. Din Djarin is now established as a character. I don't think that people really want to turn away from watching the adventures of Din Djarin, and there's going to be a season 3. But that said, I think there's room for this Boba Fett thing to operate. Now, this is speculated that it might be a mini series. I don't think it's going to be a full spinoff. I still think it might be a miniseries, but either way.
So I want to interject here. So December 2021, that is the same date that Kathleen Kennedy announced would be when Mando season 3 comes out. They did not announce a Boba Fett show at the Disney investor meeting. I don't think they've clarified what this show is.
Porg pointed something out that I didn't catch the first time, and maybe you guys did, which is they call the episodes of this show chapters.
Yeah.
And this is the book. So maybe are we calling story arcs books now? And then the next story arc of The Mandalorian is about Boba Fett.
It's about Boba Fett
on Mandalorian. Yeah.
Or it's about him.
Maybe that.
It's about him doing whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if Disney would not bring back Din.
Here's the thing.
So remember we have go ahead, Don. Sorry.
So these 2 seasons of this show has been Din's journey, and it has been his progression as a character to becoming who he is, where he has to eventually deal with his personal beliefs and his connection to this child or whatever, and he takes a step out of it and he reveals his face. And he makes a sacrifice, and he does something that a bounty hunter usually doesn't do, which is have a connection, and you see that growth and progression of character. His journey is done. I felt like that last episode was the completion of his arc.
So we're gonna see things like almost like big comic book crossovers. So like we're done with this arc of Din, and then we're gonna see Mando.
They've announced this,
right? And then we're gonna see them all come together for like the Mandalorian War for Bo-Katan, right?
Kennedy said when they announced the Ahsoka show and they announced the
Rangers of
the New Republic, that they would culminate in some kind of like epic event.
There's gonna be
like Defenders.
There's gonna be
that sounds like it.
There's definitely gonna be an event. Because you can see what they're doing here, because they've got their own little like ecosystem, like connected universe now. So
so maybe the event is retaking Mandalore.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah,
like if this goes to Boba Fett next, and the next season is like the Mandalorian of that season is Boba Fett, we won't see Din, but we'll see him again when it comes time to.
He might cameo.
Mandalore. Or I mean, like he'll cameo, but he won't be like a character again.
Right.
He'll be like it's time. Exactly. Yeah. Then it'll be time to take Mandalore when everybody comes together, and you'll see him again.
See, right now, though, I mean, I think like
the armor could get a story.
The third book could be Bo-Katan.
Like among I mean there's that too. I mean, sure, there's a possibility, but I still think that that there's going to be that the Mandalorian's going to be separate, and this is its own thing. I think this is just Boba Fett and Fennec exclusively. And I think
that's what we're saying, but it's part of the Mandalorian. What is the possibility? Because if you remember, there's a huge rumor from Grace Randolph with that Pedro Pascal had the falling out with Favreau and Filoni and all the people who were running the Mandalorian, and he tried to go over the top with Lucasfilm, and they told him to take a hike because he didn't want to show his face. And I guess he showed his face these past 2 episodes, but there's also the reports that they are filming a Boba Fett show, but they're saying they weren't really doing and like there's like actual like set photos from that, and then people aren't sure if that's like Mando season 3 or if it's its own show. So there's still some like speculation out there, but Grace Randolph seems to imply that that to me it seems like she's saying that the Boba Fett show is season 3.
I never take her seriously much because she's like a screechy cat, you know. She's got some good info.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean she's okay, but
credit where credit is due.
It's so hard to like listen to her speak because she's like, you know.
I think she's from New York.
Nyack.
Speak there, Drew.
Nyack.
Yeah.
I'm walking.
Well, she speaks like cat.
Gabagool.
But yeah, this is what I thought the Mandalorian. If you go back to the, I don't know if you can do that. Go back to the Boba Fett. Yeah, there we go. This is what I thought the Mandalorian was going to be in the first place. Maybe it might not have been Boba Fett, but it would have been like Boba Fett-esque bounty hunter diving into the underworld. So what might be interesting about this is that we might get to see the Pike Syndicate. We see what like the leftover of what the Shadow Collective from Maul, and then that gives you, if you do Shadow Collective from Maul, you get the Mandos that were the leftover Death Watch that had allied with them. So there's a lot of potential here, and this actually looks like it could be something really interesting.
You could get into the whole Star Wars underworld. You know, you get into Black Sun and some of the gangster organizations. Man, it could be really awesome.
So I think they teased that a little bit in season 7 of Clone Wars as well. I think Ahsoka and them get kidnapped. Doesn't Ahsoka get like captured?
Wait, is that the one with Jabba's brother?
There's Zero. Zero. Zero's in the earlier episodes of the Clone Wars. And I don't know. I don't think he's Black Sun. The Black Sun are like
Black Sun they're a completely different thing.
Yeah, they're not part of the Hutt cartel.
They're from the video games.
So what'll be interesting is if like where is the Hutt cartel? Does it just die? We know that there's other Hutts out there besides just Jabba. Obviously, Jabba was the leader of the Hutt cartel. So
Jabba's
it'll be
son?
interesting. Yeah, where is what was his name that Ahsoka had to rescue?
The little ball.
The little crap.
Yeah. He started with a P. I can't remember what his name is. Started with a P though.
Boba.
But I this has a lot of potential. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a Jedi Academy thing. I feel like they could go animated with Baby Grogu and Luke.
And Luke.
Yeah.
I'd be up for that. Rada the Hutt lit.
Rada. Okay, I was wrong. It's an R, not a P.
Pedunky Mumpkin.
So yeah, I really think that there's a huge opportunity to go into the underworld here. If you remember, Lucas did have scripts and stuff written for a show that was going to be called Star Wars Underworld. We saw some of the footage from that, which looked really good with this like smoking hot girl stepping out of a cruiser. So maybe they'll tap into some of those old scripts and stuff that they had done, because I believe the guy who does God of War, Corey Barlog, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He said he took that stuff and used a lot of it as inspiration for God of War, I think, or for something that he did. It might not have been God of War, but he said he used it.
Probably
it was really good. He was really pleased with that. So maybe we'll get some of that in this with Boba Fett, and maybe instead of obviously Tatooine's Outer Rim, but maybe he'll be dealing with New Republic, and we'll get to explore some of those New Republic planets and really get into maybe the urban areas and explore a little bit with that instead of kind of staying out on the Outer Rim. But I don't know if that's going to happen because Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic seem to be staying Outer Rim. But maybe we'll get to see him kind of build up a criminal empire, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he works with our boy Grief Karga, who wants to
he's gone.
He wants to build Navarro up, so as a trading destination. So
the most premier shopping outlet in the Outer Rim.
Yeah. All right, so let's go around to our final scores. I'll start with you, Spencer, for this episode.
I'd probably give this episode a 7. I mean, I really liked it. There was a lot of like plot inconsistencies and some weird behavior, but overall, I thought it was great. I liked it. We need more spaceships, but aside from that,
yeah, we got that good space battle in the beginning.
Mm-hmm, yeah, loved that one.
That's why it's called Star Wars.
Star Wars.
All right, Drew.
No, I felt like this was Star Wars for once. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun watching it, and I actually was invested in this episode. So it's a good step, but I agree with what a lot of people say.
Keep it going,
because until they go and kind of take advantage of this and realize that tying into the sequel trilogy is not going to gain money. Yeah,
it's all data driven now. Didn't you listen to what Chapek said in the Q&A?
Oh yeah,
it's all data. I think Gary has it in his latest Star Wars video. He's got the clip in there where Chapek's like, "We're doing everything data driven. We're creating stories based on data." I was like, okay.
Well, I hope the hell the data tells them, hey, look, the sequel trilogy just sucks. And, pushing everything this way would just be absolute disaster. You're starting to finally gain some goodwill because, sure, the fandom right now is a little bit split on everything else, but most of what they still agree on is that tying into the sequel trilogy is something they don't want. At least the fandom that's been around. The as far as the other debate, sure, you're going to have the EU people that feel like the continuity now, even though they're taking some stuff out of the EU. Well, they don't have enough of their EU stuff that they enjoy in there, so they're going to be a bit averse to it. And so that's the fight that you're running into now, where people are having disagreements on in the community, because I've seen it.
I'm not sure that it's. The way you're explaining it, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate.
Well,
I feel like.
Well, it's back to the old arguments, John, which is they're for the longest time, and I know this because, like, God, I used to, back when I was playing SWTOR, I would read the forums every day, and in just the Star Wars discussion section, people were just constantly pissing and moaning about the EU fans were arguing with the OT and the PT fans about what should and shouldn't be canon, and we're getting back to that argument. Really, is what we're getting to, and that's fine. That's fine. Everybody likes what they like, but at least everybody still agrees that heading towards tying in the sequel trilogy is bad juju. Don't do it. And I still think that I'm holding out hope that Doomcock was correct, and they steer away from that. And there's so many ways they could do it. They could use the World Between Worlds. They could bring in Adam Driver for some extra shooting and just do like a sequence,
a soft reboot,
where Adam Driver just had all this in a vision or a dream, and it didn't happen. And they could just explain it. They could just.
Yeah, dude, we can do better than a dream.
They could just explain it away as.
I hate to burst your bubble here, but if you look at one of the latest stories we put up, they released a new timeline, and sequel trilogy is there. So.
Oh, I know it is, but.
And it's called The Rise of the First Order, interestingly enough, despite it being destroyed, seemingly. That's where it ends. It's
the
last
dig their heels in.
Period is called Rise of the First Order.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the first trilogy, where it's like the Republic trilogy, and it ends with the Republic dying.
So they actually break that up, I think. You mean prequel trilogy, not original trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to go back. I don't have the article in front of me right now, but I think that's like broken up. There's
really?
there's like the high. It starts with like the High Republic, and then you get the prequel trilogy, and then you get like Revenge of the Sith is like in between. I feel is like then you get like Age of Empire, which is Solo and Bad Batch.
Oh yeah, it's like the High Republic, then Fall of the Jedi, and then Reign of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, the New Republic, and then Rise of the First Order.
Right. Yeah. There you go. So, I think sequel trilogy is here to stay. So that's why it's hard to what happens with this Luke Skywalker.
You know what happens to Grogu then? Well, maybe.
I mean,
there's an implication of what happens to him.
He's got some time to send Grogu away.
Let's hope he doesn't get blown up by Kylo. Force storm. Yeah, Kylo does a force storm, and then Yoda does one. Okay, not a dark side power.
Or Grogu is one of the Knights of Ren.
No, he's not. The Knights of Ren are. The Knights of Ren are their own thing. That at least if they're going to keep what Charles Soule did in the Rise of Kylo Ren comic, they're like servants of like Snoke or whatever, and they're led by a guy named Ren, like that's his name.
Where's Stimpy?
And Ben Solo kills him. He takes his lightsaber. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. All right. You got a score, Drew?
Yeah. All in all, I will say this was an 8 for me. I really, really had fun watching it. Really enjoyed it. There were things that could have been better. There were a little bit of lulls in between, but not much. I really enjoyed it, and I had fun with it. And for 47 minutes, it felt like Star Wars, and I was happy. So you know, I'm glad to say that I could finally have something enjoyable about Star Wars, because it's been it just this whole time going through the past few years with the sequel trilogy has been nothing but just disappointment and bitterness. And you know, to have something that,
hey man, Rogue One was good.
yeah, it was, but honestly, John, man, that period with Force Awakens and TLJ and Rise of Shit, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And I had completely checked out of Star Wars, and you know, I was openly critical of this series, as was all of us. And they got their stuff together in season 2, and I will give them credit where it's deserved, and say that, you know, it was a satisfying finale. And yeah, I will give it an 8 for sure.
All right, Don.
Okay. The member berries are a very strong drug. It can convince you that everything is all right, everything's okay.
No,
doesn't
it's
erase
not.
the sequel trilogy at all. They haven't apologized for it. They haven't swept it under the rug. They haven't done the world between worlds. It still exists, and it's still the destination that all of this is getting to, despite actually having a badass Luke Skywalker do the shit that we've wanted him to do for 20 years now. And yeah, and I know if this show had been the start of the new Star Wars instead of The Force Awakens, the fandom would be, there would be no fandom menace. It would be just, you know, this is what it is. It's okay. It has ties into those previous member berries, but it's okay. But we got jaded. We got burned by the sequel trilogy, and that sting, that shit taste is still in our mouths, despite everything that we've seen on in this 35-minute plus episode. And you got some stuff that's coming out soon too, which a lot of people don't agree with. One of which is Obi-Wan and Mr. Hayden Christensen showing back up and fighting again. Yeah, so I'll give it a 7. I'm going
to give it a 7 too. Okay. That might surprise you guys, but I was trying to communicate. I did enjoy the show. I thought it was above average with a 7, but I do think it could have been improved. It wasn't great. It wasn't excellent. It was above average. So I give it a 7. I'm going to disagree with Drew. With them getting their act together in this second season, I feel like this was like the only episode that was above average. So I still think that they need to be able to raise their bar to a higher level, and they should be able to do that. And I hope that they do that. And that Stinger scene at the end gives me a lot of hope. That was pretty good for a little short that we got. We got a couple of bits of dialogue, but it was great. So I'm looking forward to more of that. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm interested in. Let's hope that they can continue to do well off of this episode, and hopefully that they take they look at their data and people are like, oh, this episode was great, we need more of this, and then they're like, yes, let's give people more of that, and then we get more of it. So let's hope for that. So those are my final thoughts. I give it a 7. Don, you got something to say?
I know maybe 7's too generous because we know where it's going to lead. But whatever.
But that's not fair. I feel like that's like, yeah, we know where it's going to lead, but we have to take it for what it is.
Yeah, but we have to take it for this is all of Star Wars now.
I see both points. I think you can make an argument for both. I will side with Spencer on this one though. I really like Charles Soule's Lando miniseries with the original Lando. It's fantastic storytelling. It's kind of a standalone adventure story, little like 6-issue miniseries. You don't really have anything else to kind of tie in. But then I also can see Don's point where like the Mando literally does tie in with sequel trilogy with like the Snoke experiments and like the M counts. And
right. The whole story
there
has to be taken together. But I think we should have the ability to look at, well, look, yes, it leads into the sequel trilogy, but let's look at The Mandalorian. How is The Mandalorian as a product itself?
Right.
Ignoring what it's, and I think that's what Don is saying, is that because it leads into the sequel trilogy, it's always going to be docked a couple points from him.
It's like you're having this wonderful chicken, but you still got the taste of shit on your mouth from the chef cooking you the shit from before, you know? It's just like you can't trust that chef to do the right thing, but he does the right thing for this particular meal.
But when the chef has been showing when the chef has been showing since that really bad meal, when it's been getting better continually, I think I can go, okay, yeah, that meal sucked, but I'm going to look at the meals they're putting in front of me now and rate them objectively instead of going, Ahsoka is out. Well, I hated The Last Jedi, so I'm just going to blanket shit on everything Star Wars.
That's not blanket shit. It's just
that is blanket shitting.
The remnants of shit.
I mean, he gave it a 7. He gave it a 7. He gave this episode a 7. So
I know he did. I'm not arguing with this specific score. I'm arguing with his logic in his argument.
Yeah, listen, I think it's going to be interesting to see where things go. But yeah, I'm not enthused for the Obi-Wan show either, nor am I enthused for a lot of the other shows. I mean, if they're doing the Cara Dune spin-off, if Rangers of the New Republic is indeed the Cara Dune spin-off, I'm anxious to watch that show because I think Gina does a good job with her character. I'm actually invested in the Cara Dune character. Like to see more of what happens to her and kind of see more of her personal story. And, that's probably that in the Boba Fett series. And, things of that nature. I'm not really interested in seeing much of the other stuff, to be honest.
The stuff that looks like it's from Kennedy's wing.
Yeah.
Of Lucasfilm, because remember, there's rumors that there's a divided Lucasfilm. We'll see. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll find out if that's true. I do want to highlight Spencer YouTube me's comment here. He says Spencer's right. Get rid of the serialized story. Work for the episodic adventure. That's what I thought The Mandalorian was going to be originally. I thought we were going to see an episodic adventure where he's going on different hunts, different quests, and maybe have like. You could have some, maybe some serialization in there, but I really thought it was just going to be like him taking on different challenges every week or something like that, like a monster of the week or a hunt of the week. 1 week he's hunting down another bounty hunter. The next week he's hunting down some prized beast or something like that. And I feel like we got a little bit of that, but it was all kind of they tried to serialize it, so it wasn't the same. It wasn't like you need to go fight the crate dragon.
Yeah,
and that's like the whole purpose of that episode.
For a lot of the series, it was Mandalorian the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, so we had that. It wasn't until these last few episodes where it really kind of switched up from that. You know,
I think Don's makes a good argument here too in the comments. So do you want to elaborate on that?
Oh yeah. So what we've seen in the episodes is essentially something
Especially that fourth
John,
episode.
Yeah, John Favreau, something he said in 2019, which
Before the show
Mandalorian
even
would
aired.
do. Yeah, which is it's going to justify everything that's happening in the sequel trilogy, which we will see the rise of the First Order, and we've seen little tidbits here and there of, oh, the New Republic is not doing as well in trying to govern the galaxy. Oh, when they have a bunch of disorder, they're going to cry for order again. And we see these little seeds being planted again, and you see that little shit. The chef is putting shit in our thing again, and it's just the souring of the taste of
I think that
the
biggest
meal,
the biggest argument for that is the experimental things on Navarro.
Oh, the Snoky things
in the tubes. Yeah, and then the whole speech that the doctor gives to Gideon, the phone call or whatever, the transmission. So that's like, I think that episode is where you see a lot of that sequel trilogy influence there. It's primarily all in that episode, I feel like. And then I guess they retcon the First Order into being Imperial remnants. I guess because they brought in what's his name to become the Final Order guy, and then in Rise of Skywalker. So, because I felt like they were from somewhere else at one point in like the Force Awakens. I don't think they were Imperial remnants. I don't feel like they were, at least. All right.
I thought they were from the unknown regions or something.
Well, yeah, that's when we find out that's where Palpatine is in Rise of Skywalker. So, all right. Thank you all for joining us. We will probably be next reviewing WandaVision. So whenever we figure out a solid date on that, we'll be back doing WandaVision, and then we will most definitely be doing the Boba Fett, the Book of Boba, and we'll probably be back for Mandalorian Season 3. So look forward to those live streams coming in the near future. So thank you all. Have a great weekend. If we don't see you Wednesday, have a Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you all for joining us, and have a great night.
Take care, folks.
Take it easy.